Sarah, Mark's children, come on up. Negative Chapter Eulogy, come on up. Daniel and Sarah.
Dad was born at Essex Hospital in Christchurch on 13th of May 1964 to Barbara Ann and David John Colvin. Dad was one of 7 and he had a brother to Alan. He was a brother to Alan, John, Debbie, Andrew, Matthew and Joshua, and then stepson to Matthew Hubley, or as we know him, Botley. He grew up in Christchurch and went to Shirley Primary, Waltham Primary and finally Hagley High School, only the best schools for Dad. I remember Dad telling me about his first day of school at the age of 5 and sitting down to eat his lunch where an older kid pushed his head into a brick wall. Those who know Dad will know that after that moment he never let anyone push him around again. At the age of 7, Dad fell from a tree at his property where he broke his leg. His broken leg resulted in one leg being shorter than the other, and while his leg was in a cast, they were looking at making special shoes to level out his legs. This was not the answer for Dad's mum, who was a woman of faith, so she took him to the pastor at St John's Church in Latimer Square, where they prayed and his leg grew before their eyes. From that moment on, both legs were the same length, and to that the doctors had no answer, but we know the answer.
Dad was always a bit of a mischief maker. Debbie recalls that when she was 7, he asked her to stand against the carriage while he had darts, and he said, "You can be like the lady at the circus." So he threw 1, 2, and then 3 darts ended up going straight to her forehead. Brotherly love, I can relate to that. Dad spent a lot of time with his family growing up. Him and John have a very close bond, doing lots together, including going to one of his favourite places as children, Auntie Marge's. He always remembered having black boy peaches on his wee bits, sleeping in the starched blankets, and every school holiday his dad was made to get a haircut so it would come out the bowl. We loved hearing about all of Dad's childhood memories, especially the ones that helped to shape his faith. Another miracle moment was when Dad had another serious accident at the age of 18. He had just finished tuning up his Vauxhall and took it around the block as somebody ran a red light on Byron Street, resulting in Dad T-boning their car and wrapping his steering wheel around his head. Having enough time to yell out, "Jesus, save me!" Out of the crash, he only had a cut to his head. When looking at the car, they thought no one could survive. His faith continued to grow, and he realised the power of Christ after that moment.
Dad had a great passion for cars, which all started off with his first car, an EJ Holden, which shouldn't have been on the road. But he was happy to have his first set of wheels, even though he had to put his hand through the dash to manually operate the window wipers, block with wood by the engine mount to stop the motor rattling, and use a sneaky trick to make it seem like he had working brake lights. He told me that the police followed him one day, and every time he had to stop, he would have to turn on his headlights so that the tail lights would come on. This would give the effect that it had working brake lights. Surprisingly, he never got pulled over. I did find out that once he sold the car, the new owner got pulled over the same day, and the vehicle was ordered off the road. From there on, cars got better, as we would hope. He went from 6 cylinders to V8s and then downgraded to a more family-friendly 4-cylinder. As I remember, Dad had a lot of cars, which started my passion later on.
Dad got married in 1986 to my mum at St Mark's in Opala. 2 years later, in 1988, he had his first child, Dad, Mark Colvin, who was born at Christchurch from his hospital. Then in 1991, he had a second child, a wee girl named Sarah Louise Colvin, born at Vancouver Hospital. Dad was a very talented man. He worked at O'Brien Shoes and was a bootmaker by trade at 18. He worked at Lane Walk as a supervisor at the age of 25 and started working for Vitafoam at 27. He wasn't limited to new ideas. He was always thinking of products and ideas that no one else had thought of. Finances were the only barrier for his ideas. One of these ideas was that he put in to action was foam chairs and couches for children that he produced in his spare time for Vodafone. The cost of the fabric was his only barrier, and years later the little couches were being produced by big companies and are still for sale today. He was a thinker and a hard worker, wouldn't let anyone get on top of him, as his approach was always, things are going to get better. His hard work for us growing up involved him sometimes taking up 2 jobs to make sure we always had what we needed as a family, one of which included him working night shift at Eaton Boys Pizza when myself and Sarah were very little.
That's what happens when you write it. I remember Dad having his own carpet cleaning business, and I went on a few jobs with him. His trusty carpet cleaning machine and not so trusty Ford Escort van. I was with him once when it made a loud noise, and I said, "What was that, Dad?" And in his worry-free approach to things said, "Oh, the gearbox is blown." For the next few weeks, Dad had to run from one side of Rangiora to the other. With his heavy carpet cleaning machine in hand, just to make sure the jobs were still getting done. He never wanted to let anybody down. At the age of 30, Dad started working Saturdays at Lice Automotive, which then turned to full-time. This job really suited Dad as his love of working with people was mixed with his knowledge and passion for vehicles. So this is where he spent 14 years. We loved going to see Dad work there as kids because it meant we got to play in the wrecked and crashed Hiluxes, which set me up to buy my first Hilux and didn't stop at one.
Sadly, during Dad's time at Lineside at the age of 36, Dad suffered a massive heart attack. Even though he was close to passing, God had a vision for him, and it was not for his time to leave us. Thank you, God. Not long after, Dad was out of hospital when he should have been resting. He was straight back into cutting firewood, which he ended up getting a hernia. Typical Dad didn't let anything stop him, but he was always very stubborn. He was a great dad, and even though he had a lot of hurdles in his life, he didn't let it affect other people, and was always by our sides. As a dad, including being my birth partner to his grandchild, Jonathan. Dad was awesome at helping me forget about pain as a child. I had earache a lot growing up, and Dad would sit with me and tell me to not think about the pain. He would even pinch me on the leg so I'd forget about my ears. When me and Dad had broken things by mistake, he never got angry. He would just say, "Accents, it's not your fault." He taught us how to build things, and remember him teaching us how to throw screwdrivers into the grass so they'd stand up. He was amazing. He was never about him. It was always about others. He spent his life pleasing people, and that's what he enjoyed. He didn't have much money growing up, but he always had what we needed. And Dad would always make the smallest things fun. We even remember him drawing and making little cowboys out of clay. Dad had a passion for food. He was always in the kitchen making stuff out of whatever he could find. No cookbook, just a bit of this and a bit of that. Surprisingly, it would be nice most of the time. He inspired me to cook and taught me how to take care of my family.
After his time at Lineside, he wanted a new challenge, so he went to work at All Translate, where he spent the next few years, and then finally moved on to Parts Find. His passion for people and always trying to make sure people were getting the best deal and service. He had a vision for Parts Find, which he took over from the late Stephen Scott last year. He was building the company back up from a very low state and had even introduced a new workshop, which he had called the Scotties in dedication to Stephen.
It's hard to put Dad's life in a very small eulogy, as he is such an amazing person. He truly was loved by all that met him, and even though Dad was very busy, we always felt loved, and he would take time, even if we even needed to talk. Dad was always a loving guy. He had a very warm feeling about him, which I'm sure everyone will agree. We feel truly blessed to have Mark as our dad growing up, and we can both agree that he made us feel safe and comforted, and always had advice and listening ear, even to this stage in our lives. We are glad that we spent time last year working in the afternoon style at Parts Find, and our bonds grew stronger over this time.
I got to spend most of last year helping Dad brainstorm and come up with new ideas and finding parts and sending orders out for him. I love working with Dad as I got to see his happy face whenever I would turn up for work in the afternoons. He would always give me a hug, once when I got there and once when I left. He would always comment on how I was doing an awesome job, even if I didn't feel like I'd done anything special, just a proud dad. Spending time with Dad at work always made me feel happy. I liked that I could help, and I liked that I could be there for him through his tough times at work, just how Dad was there for me growing up. Dad had taken us on many holidays growing up. He didn't want us to miss out, and we have so many great memories and adventures. I also loved going fishing with Dad, even though I didn't really have much luck catching anything. But Dad seemed to catch fish most of the time. The last time we went fishing, I asked him, "How do you know when a fish has bitten the line?" He showed me on the string on the fishing rod, and I said, "How can I feel that?" I have a lot of great memories of Dad, but there wouldn't be enough time in the day to even get through half of all the great memories we had. Dad was a man of faith, and I'm glad that he talked to me about the Lord. He wouldn't let any negative words be spoken out of my life. Like when I went to the doctors when I was little and they were trying to give me asthma medication. Dad said he doesn't have asthma and prayed against it, and I never needed any medication. Even though Dad was only in my life for 25 years, he did more for me as a parent in that time than most parents ever could. One thing Dad always wanted us to know about was the word of the Lord. On my 22nd birthday, he gave me a Bible, and inside he wrote, "To Dan, the most precious gift I can give you, son, is the word of the Lord. These words bring life to those who find them and health to all their flesh. They also bring hope in a darkened world. God loves you far more than you can possibly fathom. Happy birthday, son. Love, Dad." Dad, even though you aren't here, your memories will always be with me, and I know that I will see you again. We will be able to hang out forever, and I can't lose you again. I'm very thankful that there was enough time for you to meet my beautiful wife Gina and come to our wedding, and that you got to meet with two beautiful grandchildren, Olivia and Alexander. They all love you so much, and Gina and I will always make sure that Liv and Alex remember their granddad Mark, as Olivia would say. I love you so much, Dad, and thank you for giving hope, not just to me, but to many others, including your loving wife Jackie. One thing Jackie remembers about Dad is how he told her he always felt that he would have 6 children. He got that wish when he met Jackie, and when he welcomed her 4 children into his heart. That's one thing about Dad. He was a very loving, welcoming, and was a true family man. He had finally found a soulmate, and with that became a dad of 6 to me, Sarah, Logan, Jake, Liliana, and Joseph. When we asked Jackie what she wanted us to share about Dad as a husband, she wrote, "Mark was the best husband any man could ever be. He wasn't perfect, but he was perfect for me. He became not just my husband, but very much part of me, and now I've lost a big part of myself." When he was here, he was always making fun, never a dull moment. He regularly picked me weeds and present them to me like carrying a bunch of long-stemmed roses, and I loved that so much about him. I loved him walking in with the weedy flowers, as you can see in the picture up there. And Jackie told me the other day that she never told Dad that they were actually weeds, so it was He always wanted to be very, very careful and do the right things, and always focused on helping others, always selfless, apart from when it came to food. He would fight for the last sausage against the tribe, with true courage. But once he'd won a sausage, he'd end up cutting it into 6 pieces, and we'd all share it. He'd cut and we'd choose. It's not possible to sum up the immense depth of loss of my soulmate. It took us both so many years of pain and anguish to find each other, and then so little time together. It just doesn't seem fair. We two were so totally one. I can't believe how perfect we were for each other.
Although Dad has gone He didn't suffer and passed on surrounded by loved ones, while having fun out grass cutting. The amazing man that you all knew and that we described today slides on his heart of those who love him, and his beautiful grandchildren. We will never forget him and look forward to the day that we meet again. Thank you all for coming and celebrating Dad's life with us, for supporting us, and for helping us to farewell him as he begins his new journey with God.